Hello and welcome to TNT. It's Thursday and thank you very much for dropping in. Now, the officials in Phuket have issued a warning for small boats up to 6 metres to be prohibited from going to sea. Now, if I just look behind me and look at the forecast over the next 3 or 4 days, publicly available, including the radars, you'd sort of wonder why these warnings are in place. Yes, there are a few of these tropical storms passing by, but they're easy to see coming, and they're also easy to detect on the publicly available radar. Anyway, I think it's going to be a perfect day, but boats less than 6 metres won't be heading out to sea. A lot to cover in today's program. Let's get started. And as I said, plenty to talk about today. Let's go to the Bangkok Post. And Spaniard charged in murder dismemberment of Columbian on Koh Phangan. Public prosecutors yesterday brought charges against a Spanish chef to Koh Samui Provincial Court in connection with the murder and dismemberment of a Colombian surgeon on the tourist island of Koh Phangan in August this year. According to sources, the prosecutors informed the court that Daniel Broncello, 29, murdered 44-year-old Edwin Artiaga and subsequently dismembered the body to conceal the crime on Koh Phangan. And then they feel inclined to remind us, which is renowned for full moon parties and scuba diving. And the court accepted the lawsuit and summoned the defendant for a statement hearing today. And the case came to light when the pelvis and intestines of the victim were found at a dump on Koh Phangan on August the 3rd. The following day, police detained Mr. Broncello, who later admitted to the crime. And the defendant is the son of a Spanish actor and actress. He's a well-known chef in his home country. And the victim operated a successful plastic surgery clinic in Colombia. Somebody in the comment section was asking for an update on that story just a few days ago, so there it is in the Bangkok Post. Now, a bit about the Prime Minister and some of the things he's been doing over the past few days. ThaiPBSWorld.com saying Thailand's economy needs a major boost. This is from the Prime Minister. He said Thailand's underperforming economy needs to be given a major boost to increase its growth rate and pull the country out of the middle income trap while improving the livelihoods of people at all levels. The Prime Minister was speaking in a keynote speech given at an event hosted by the Economic Reporters Association. And the Prime Minister pointed out that Thailand's annual growth rate for the past 10 years averaged only 1.8%, the lowest in the region, while household debt rose from 76 to 90% of GDP, placing Thailand among the world's top 10 countries for household debt. And further on, he said the government's decision to provide a debt moratorium to farmers, cut power and fuel prices, and reduce train fares in Bangkok and its suburbs to 20 baht are just short-term measures to ease the financial burden on the people. And for the middle and long term, the Prime Minister said Thailand must negotiate free trade agreements with more countries to find new markets after the suspension of negotiations for the past 10 years. He explained that his overseas visits in the 2 months since he assumed the office were not intended to just introduce himself to other leaders, but also to explore new markets for Thai products and to convince foreign investors to invest in Thailand. But before all this happened, the Prime Minister and Pattaya Beach were attending a film showing at Siam Paragon, a film that had been doing particularly well in Thai cinema, and there was somebody waiting to meet him. Anna, a youth activist, wears a t-shirt with the words, "I've been harassed by officials of the Ministry of Social Development and Human Resources." And she was carrying an envelope with documents addressed to the Minister of Social Development, and she was waiting at the Paragon Cineplex on the 5th floor after learning that the Prime Minister and Pattaya Beach were coming to see the film. Then after the film, we go to the second paragraph. At the same time, the Prime Minister received a document from Anna, a youth activist who wished to report harassment by the Ministry of Social Development. He was also given a document by Yok, another young political activist who opposed the use of Section 112 to harm people. Well, that's the Section 112 of the Criminal Code that refers to lèse majesté or criticism of the royal family. But kudos to the Prime Minister for at least meeting with those young protesters. Well, speaking of the Prime Minister, just one more thing I noted yesterday on the Calsod English Facebook page. And the Prime Minister said yesterday that he plans to attend the APEC summit in San Francisco in November. And further down there, it's been confirmed that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, has made an appointment to meet and speak with him. So look forward to seeing what comes out of that particular meeting, perhaps some investment in Thailand from Apple. And then we head off to nationthailand.com and 5 new Thai airlines to start flying next year. Lots of rumours about these airlines. Let's see if we can find out some more. And Thai nationals are launching 5 new airlines with a total investment of 3.85 billion baht, expected to start commercial operations in 2024, eyeing a piece of Thailand's growing aviation market. And the 5 airlines are Really Cool Airlines, P80 Air, Pattaya Airways, CMC Plane and Landark Airlines. A few of these we've heard about in the past, but they've sort of gone quiet over the last year. And the CEO of Really Cool Airlines expects to start flying from the second quarter of next year. And they'll focus on Asian routes such as Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore and Shanghai with 4 Airbus A330 aircraft. And Really Cool would also be the world's first airline that delivers passenger luggage to their doors. So instead of losing your luggage on the way to the baggage claim area, they can lose your luggage on the way to your home. Meanwhile, P80 Air intends to start commercial operation in the last quarter of next year, and they'll fly mostly to secondary cities in China using 4 Boeing 737-800 next generation planes. And Pattaya Airways plans to take to the skies in the fourth quarter of next year, providing full-scale aviation transport on both domestic and ASEAN destinations. So little details there, but hopefully much better use of the underused Utupao Airport. And then CMC Plane intending to use Cessna Caravan 208 models to serve high-end customers. And the airline's first route will be the famous Koh Lip in Satun province, where the amphibian planes can shorten the commute time to just 30 to 45 minutes. Not sure where they'd be flying from. Meanwhile, Landark Airlines will operate short chartered flights between major cities in southern provinces, and their centre will be at Hat Yai in Songkhla province, where it would procure 5 of those same Cessna 208 12-seater aircraft within the first 5 years. Well, except for the Really Cool airline, not much in the way of details for those other startups. Our next story is a man who missed his flight. We go to the PhuketExpress.com. Wanted man in Pattaya arrested at the Phuket airport. And he's a wanted suspect from the Pattaya Provincial Court, being accused of being involved in illegal drugs and escaping. He was arrested at the arrival hall at the international terminal. So it seems he's flown out of the country and then flown back, trying to arrive at Phuket airport. And the Phuket Express notes that details of the suspect were not released by officials. So heading up to Pattaya now, and a bit of action up there. The PattayaNews.com reports Pattaya authorities crack down on alleged transgender prostitutes on Pattaya Beach. Well, plenty in that particular headline. Let's see if we can unpack that a bit. The Pattaya Tourist Police and relevant officials were dispatched to inspect the entertainment district and Pattaya Beach area, especially transgender individuals who have alleged behaviour that causes nuisance, theft, quarrels, engage in prostitution or cause physical harm to foreign tourists. And the video here from the Pattaya News YouTube channel. And the story goes on, the main purpose of the inspection was to raise the level of security and build confidence among tourists with a good tourism image, according to the government policy. And as a result of the inspection, there were more than 20 alleged ladyboys captured and escorted to inquiry officers for further legal proceedings. Well, it seems to be a bit of a grab bag of crimes that no particular convictions were made, and the Pattaya News notes that some activist groups have complained about alleged targeting of transgender individuals, specifically by law enforcement, but Pattaya police deny this and say they're being consistent. It's just one of those stories that just keeps popping up every couple of months, and I suppose we'll just continue to cover it. And a story that did attract quite a lot of interest, this one also covered in the PattayaNews.com. Road studs on Jomtien Road removed after British tourist tripped over and broke his nose. And we'll start with a little bit of video footage here, noting the British man walking across the road, hits that stud and then slams his face into the concrete on the other side. And then he sort of casually gets up and, so what's wrong with my nose? And heads back across the road. And watching it from another angle, and there he is, stumbling and tries to regain his balance, hits his head on the concrete. And apart from the shock, he ended up breaking his nose. Good to see a few people at least trying to help the man get back on his feet. But the story says Pattaya city officials swiftly removed road studs on Jomtien Beach Road yesterday, following the viral story of a British tourist stumbling on one of them and breaking his nose. And the studs would reflect the lights of passing vehicles, providing safety to commuters and pedestrians, especially in this area where many tourists frequented bars and businesses at night. And the city decided to remove the studs to prevent accidents while leaving only the road dividers. And apparently city authorities would also paint a zebra crossing for visitors in the area soon. I'm not really sure what that's going to do. Most Thai drivers routinely ignore zebra crossings, but we do wish that British man well and hope he recovers to enjoy the rest of his stay in Thailand. Now to a few events happening in Thailand, and this one's covered in PattayaMail.com. OR Thailand MotoGP Grand Prix returns to Buriram, October the 27th to the 29th. And the story says racing fans can expect a thrilling weekend as the event makes its fourth appearance at the renowned circuit. And you can get tickets for the event available at 7-Eleven stores and at allticket.com. Sure, a few petrol heads heading up to Buriram for the weekend. Now, yesterday we spoke about Ed Sheeran coming to town, as well as Kenny G, who will be playing at the Jazz Festival in Pattaya. But for something completely different, how about this? Sir Rod Stewart is coming back to Bangkok in Rod Stewart Live in Concert One Last Time. Noting that Rod Stewart is now 78 years old, and he's going to be performing on the 6th of March next year at the Impact Arena. But you better start saving up. The tickets aren't cheap, starting at 10,000 baht, and the cheap seats right up the top there, you're going to be paying 2,800 baht. To hear Rod Stewart just one more time. And with that, hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. Appreciate you dropping in. Please subscribe to the channel, and we do look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.